What up, everybody? At the end of Raising Kanan Season 2, Unique saved Rock's life from the New Jersey Mafia hitters sent by Sal Baselli. This was after Rock and Unique were beefing all of Season 1, and Rock even tried sending Unique to prison for life, framing him for Howard's shooting. So at this point, there was a lot of bad blood between Unique and Rock, and when Unique saved Rock at the end of Season 2, the narrator OG Kanan said that the game fucks up a whole lot of shit. It turns friends into enemies and enemies into friends. And in Season 3 we saw just that, with Rock and Unique becoming more than friends, but becoming lovers also. So in this video today, I'm going to take a look at a few of the relationships from Raising Kanan Season 4 that could go from friends to enemies, or from a good business relationship to enemies. Starting out with Rock's next move. Rock is currently getting her heroin from a Vietnamese supplier named Quan. And even though Rock and Quan's relationship started out good, Quan is starting to become a problem for Rock. In episode 2, Quan raised Rock's price by 20%. Then in episode 3, after Quan's wife's cousin was killed, he threatened Rock, saying if she can't make an example, then he will, calling her replaceable. So at this point, Rock and Quan's relationship is almost to a boiling point. Because of that, Rock reached out to Joaquin, trying to get a name because Joaquin won't sell heroin in South Jamaica. And Joaquin pointed Rock in the direction of Tremont, another former associate turned enemy from Season 2. And we know from the episode 4 trailer, the Season 4 trailer, and the other promo videos, that Rock's gonna send Marvin to attack Tremont and force him to give up the name of his supplier. And I believe Tremont will eventually give up that name, and Rock will be the one to put a bullet in Tremont, getting her revenge for backdooring her when they were supposed to have a business agreement in Season 2. Then once Rock secures the new connect, she will most likely be forced to kill Quan, because in episode 2, Rock talked to Stefano about replacing Quan, and Stefano agreed as long as Rock could find a new connect with a better deal. And I think in order to become the connect, Rock will have to kill the connect, Quan, so the Mafia doesn't have any loose ends. Sticking with loose ends, I think another loose end that will eventually need to be taken out is Uncle Irwin, the owner of all those Chinese restaurants that Rock is moving her product out of. Because in episode 3, Irwin was already trying to back out of his arrangement with Rock after his niece and nephew were killed. But Rock compared their relationship to a marriage and said once you're in, there's no getting out. This is very similar to what Rock and Marvin told the Chinese couple who were killed in episode 3 in Season 3 after Unique went missing, because they were trying to get out at that point, just like Irwin's trying to get out now. And I think their death also foreshadowed Irwin's death, because the narrator OG Kanan said, a lot of people get in the game thinking they can make that fast money and dip the fuck out. But that's not how it works. Ain't no half steps. When you in, you all the way in. And when you're out, you're going to be all the fucking way out too. Getting me to the relationship dynamics between Rock, Marvin, and Stefano. In Season 4, Episode 1, we saw Marvin start to do side work for Stefano behind Rock's back. Stefano told Marvin not to let his sister know, because he doesn't like to mix his businesses because it complicates things. But in episode 2, Rock found out that Marvin was meeting with Stefano alone from their family lawyer Andre Barnes. But in episode 3, when Rock asked Marvin about that, he lied to Rock's face, saying he has no business with Stefano. So did Marvin lie to Rock because he feared there would be consequences from Stefano since he told him he wouldn't tell Rock about their business? Or is he just trying to be loyal to Stefano since he told Stefano he wouldn't tell Rock? Either way, I think the relationship between these three will eventually take a turn for the worse. Because at the end of the day, Marvin and Rock are both only one mistake away from being considered a loose end by Stefano, and him deciding to deal with them like he did Sal Baselli. Except he has no oath to Rock or Marvin and could have his goons take them out at any time. Especially after Rock ups the stakes and becomes the connect. Because of that, Rock and Marvin could be forced to eventually take out Stefano in a kill or be killed scenario. And if that happens, that could cause a huge snowball effect of events to take place after. Or like I said in another video, I believe Rock will ultimately snitch on Stefano and go into hiding in Witsec. Up until this point, all the relationships I talked about in this video have been business associates that could potentially turn into enemies. But the relationship between Unique and Early Tyler is an actual friendship, because Unique not only trusted Early Tyler more than anybody else to have him come pick him up after Ronnie left him for dead, but he also had Early Tyler's phone number memorized to the point he could remember it after being severely concussed. And to pay Unique's bill out of his own pocket also shows Early has love for Unique. But at the end of the day, it seemed like the main thing that Early Tyler was concerned about was Unique paying him back for all the money he spent out of his own pocket for Unique's recovery. And then episode 3, after robbing and killing the Chinese couple, Unique paid back his entire debt to Early Tyler. But prior to that, Marvin Thomas was at Early's shop looking for information about who hit the Chinese spot. And when Unique paid off his debt, Early asked him about that. And even though Unique didn't admit to anything, Early definitely knows the truth. And the episode 4 exclusive images shows Early Tyler not only talking to Unique, but also talking to Marvin Thomas again. And now that Unique has paid off his debt, does Early Tyler still have the same loyalty to Unique? Especially when Marvin is offering real money for information about what happened. And because of that, I think Early Tyler could definitely play both sides. Keeping in mind that Ronnie was still alive when Early Tyler found Unique and for about 3 months after. And this could have been part of why Early Tyler didn't want Unique to go after Ronnie, because we know that Ronnie and Early Tyler were doing business together from when Ronnie stole the car and took it to be flipped by Early Tyler. And like I said, Unique considers Early Tyler a friend, and I think that Marvin does also, because Marvin was the first person to bring up Early Tyler's name on the show, mentioning that Early Tyler was talking about opening up an exotic fish shop. And he also mentioned seeing Early Tyler's uncle at a barber shop in another episode. So either way, whether it's by Marvin or by Unique, I think Early Tyler will get taken off the board eventually for playing both sides. And the final relationship that I think will go bad in season 4 is the relationship between Lou Thomas, Lowell Galfin, and B. Rilla. Either though this was never really a friendship to begin with, it's a business relationship, but I think that B. Rilla will end up robbing Lowell Galfin and possibly even killing him, because I definitely don't think Lowell Galfin mentioned keeping all his cash at home for no reason. And then ultimately, this will cause even more problems for Lou, possibly even end up being his exit out of the music business. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.